Yo, what up? Welcome back to my channel where we're going to pick a nice looking dribble design and we're going to try to clone it using Flutter. So I found this medical mobile app. It's like a doctor kind of app and I think it looks pretty good, so let's try to clone this using our code. Now the first thing to do when you're trying to clone a design like this is to think about any icons or images we might need to prepare. So I'm just going to focus on this main homepage for this video, and looks like there's some icons here like the dentist and surgeon and some other categories that we can look for, and maybe we need some images for these doctors that we can prepare. So you can get them from anywhere, but you can go to unsplash.com and look for some nice stock images here. And for the icons, I like to go to this flat icon website to just look for different icons of your choice. So there's a lot of things here you can pick from. So I've actually already prepared them. So I've chosen just 3 different doctor images, and also I've just got some icons here like the pills, some surgeon, and the dentist. Okay, so you can pick whatever images you like, but I like these ones for now. And let's create our new project. I'm going to create it on my desktop. And let's call it Medical App UI. Looks like I have a new version of Flutter, but I'm not going to update that. And here is our new app. So let's open up this app, and in the library, let's drag our images and icons in here. Cool. And then let's open up our VS Code, and let's open up this app. And let's start our iOS simulator. Okay, so the first thing is both of these images and these icons, you can see they're all just PNGs. So let's first of all just run this. And while this is running, as I said, these images and these icons are just both PNGs. So we're going to need to go to our pubspec.yaml and tell the project that we are importing some images. So let's comment out this asset section. So we have it at library / images and / and library and icons. So make sure to save that. And let's just close this. And here is the Flutter demo homepage. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete everything below the main function so that we can start this from scratch. So let's just do our usual setting up. Material app. I always like to check this debug banner to be false, this little guy in the corner. And let's create our homepage. And to keep our code nice and clean, let's create a new folder called pages, and I'm just going to put in the homepage.dart file here. And this one's going to be a stateful widget just called homepage, and let's just return a blank scaffold. So let's import this, and if you run this again, then it should just be a blank app. And let's start from here. Cool. So first thing is if I just bring this back. So let's just have a little bit of a plan, right? So we have the kind of app bar at the top, but because there's a lot of text widgets here, I'm actually not going to use an app bar, and I'm just going to use a big ass column. Okay. And then we have this little card saying how do you feel, and then we have a search bar, and then we've got these categories, and then we have some other cards for the doctors. Okay, and then finally we got the bottom navigation bar. So let's try to fill this out. Okay, so first of all, the background color, it looks quite white, but I'm just going to make it like gray for now, like a very slight gray. And in the body, like I said, I'm just going to use a big column. And I'm going to put technically the app bar, I'm just going to put in the column, even though you can create an app bar like this. For this particular app, I'm just going to put it all in the column because this one is a little bit more custom looking. So we have an app bar, and then we have a card that says, how do you feel? And then we got a search bar, and then we got, what should I call this, categories. Let's call this horizontal list view for the categories, like dentist, surgeon, etc. And then we got the doctor list. Cool, so let's give this a go. Let's see what we can do. Now, starting with the app bar, so on the row, I'm going to have a text widget saying hello. And it's right up there in the corner, so we're going to wrap this column in something called a safe area, which basically puts it so that it's not covered by any of these notches and things like that. And this row itself, let's wrap in a padding horizontally 25. Cool, so there's a bit of padding there. And this text widget, I'm just gonna copy this and wrap it in another column. And so we can have hello Jerome Bell or Mitch Coco. And this one we can make the style a bit bigger. So if you hover over this font size, you can see it's 14 by default. So let's say like 20. Cool. So just trying to make this kind of situation going on. So a bit smaller on the top and then a bit bigger on the bottom. And also we want this to align not kind of centrally, but I want this to align to the left. So if you go to this column, we can say cross-axis alignment and say start. Cool, and I think both of these guys could use a bit of boldness. Font weight, whoops, bold. And I think even the top text widget, we could probably increase this size a bit. Yeah, maybe I would say this can be 18. And I'm just going to copy this. And this can be like 24. Let's see how that looks. Okay, looking a bit better. And just for good measure, let's put in a little sized box just so that we can have a little gap in between. Okay, so far so good. Now I want to have a kind of profile picture there. So this is the name. And then we want to have a profile picture. So this one, I'm going to just use an icon here. Icons.person. You can see it just appeared right there. Now I want to specify this main axis alignment to be spaced between so that if I save this, it pushes it over here. Cool. And just real quick, just to make this look more like a nice button, let's wrap this in a container. And let's give this some decoration. The color, let's make it deep purple. And we could add some padding inside. And let's make the corners curved. Border radius dot circular is 12. So you can see it's super sharp. So we can curve it like that. Okay, so far that's looking pretty good. Now let's actually see what this looks like if I change this to a white. Yeah. Let's just leave it as black. Okay, so that's done. Now we are now going to have some card here. Just saying, like, how do you feel? And then we can start to have a button to fill out some information. Cool, so yeah, let's try this out. Below this, let's have a size box of 25. And then let's create our card. So I'm going to create a container of height. Well, actually, without putting a height yet, let's just put in a child. And let's put in a row, because on the left we want a animation or like a cute picture. And then how do you feel plus button. So basically what I'm talking about here is just like we should have some space for this little girl, this little picture, and then on the right side we can have this information. So I actually didn't prepare an image for this, so we'll just leave this for now. But just this side, we're gonna have to have it in a column, and we'll say, how do you feel? And then another text widget, fill out your medical card right now. And then we have another button. Just gonna put a container, and in the middle okay, let's see how this looks so far. Okay, and we should actually put some space here just for some let's just put a blank container for now. Just occupy some space. So this is where we should have a picture of a girl. Cool, and this container itself, let's put in some decoration. And padding. Okay, we're getting closer and closer. Now I don't want it stuck to the walls, so this container itself should have a padding symmetrically and horizontally 25. Cool, so it looks like we have a bit of an overflow problem. So let's see what we can do here. Oh, I fixed it. So there was that overflow problem, and I just expanded the entire column to fill the rest of the space, and this text widget automatically just went to the new line. Now I actually should also make this cross-axis alignment to be at the start. Cool, and then there should be some gap between the two images. Okay, now how do you feel? Let's change up this text widget to be much more bolder. And the size can be 18. Maybe 16. Let's copy this for the second text widget. But this time it's not bold. And maybe just slightly smaller. And then this get started. So this one, we should put some decoration on this container. So first of all, the color, let's go for deep purple. And padding, let's say 12. And this text widget should be white, just so that we have a nice contrast. There we go. And of course, just to make this more nice and modern, we should make the border curved. Okay, looking good so far. Now, compared to this, looks like I'll need some gaps between these widgets here. And we'll grab a nice looking image somewhere from the internet just to replace this girl. So, where were we? How do you feel? Let's put in a sized box. Maybe 8. Let's go for 12. Cool, and this box as well. Where's the overall pink one? This one here. Let's make this also curved. Okay, so we'll grab a girl for this a bit later on. Now let's turn our attention to this search bar. So how can we help you? So this one's going to be a text field. So first of all, let's put in a size box of height 25. And let's put in a text field. And before you even customize anything further, if you save it, you should be able to see this little text field that you can type stuff in. And now we can decorate this. So in here, there's a lot of decoration you can do. But one thing I'm just gonna do here, input border dot none. I'm just gonna put no border, so it'll be a blank, nothing there. And like I said, there's a lot of decoration you can do in here, but just to keep it nice and simple, I'm just gonna wrap it in a container and just use the container to do the decoration. So what I mean is, let's make it gray 400. There it is. Well, actually, let's make it deep purple. 100. And so you can still have the text field in there. And so we're just using the container to do some decoration. Let's make the border radius 12. Cool, and let's wrap some padding around this. And in the hint text, this should be just a string. Yep, just a string. And so basically what you type in here is, how can we help you? So it should just be there, and once the user starts typing, it should just go away. Cool. And before that, we need to have a search icon. So there should be a prefix, maybe in the decoration. Yeah, prefix icon, here we go. So let's put in a search icon. Cool, there it is. And I actually explained this in my last UI video, but it's blue by default because Flutter's default color is blue. If you want to change this, you can actually go to the theme here, and the primary swatch color you can change to like whatever you want, say like red. Then those kind of accent colors become all red without you having to change the individual widget here. So I do not want it red. Let's go for deep purple, just to keep with the theme of this sort of app. And this container, let's give it some padding. Cool, so far so good. So now we can just type in here. Okay. And then we have this horizontal list view, so we can scroll this and have the different categories. So let's do that now. So let's have a sized box, height of 25, just to space it out a bit. And this horizontal list view. And just before I put the list view in, I'm just gonna see with a blank container how high we should put this list view. So for example, like height of 50, let's see how high that is. It's like that much. Maybe we could go for 100. Yeah, maybe like 80. Yeah, I think we can fit it in there. So yep, this was just to see where we can place our list view. And in the children, we can now put in a container that says dentist. Okay, and this is where I'm going to wrap this dentist text widget in a row, and let's put in our icon. So in the icon here, this tooth, I want to put this tooth icon in. So let's use an image.asset to grab this image, and where did we place it? We placed it in library/icons, and it's called tooth.png. So this might be huge. Yep, that's huge. So let's just actually we could probably just do this. Cool, and then just some padding. Okay, let's see what happens if I add another one of these on. Okay, so you can see I put another one on, but it's actually vertical scroll by default, these list views. So let's change the scroll direction to be horizontal. Yay, there we go. Cool, now at this point, I actually want to encapsulate our code into a different file just to keep it nice and clean. Okay, so with this one, I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to create a new folder first of all called utilities. And this is where I like to create the different sort of cards and tiles and things like that, things I know I'm going to reuse. So with this, what should we call it? Let's call it a category card. So this container we just created, let's just copy that and place it in here. Okay, so this way we can now just say category card. And then we can just create multiple of these ones. And so this is really useful because we can now just come to this individual file and make any changes that we need. For example, we're going to need a padding. Now when you have like horizontal list views, I like to just put a padding on just one side, like the left, for example. So yeah, it all spaces it out, but then it starts spaced out, but then you can scroll through. So this is useful. And let's curve these corners. It's a bit too sharp for me, which means we're going to need to put in a decoration. So border radius. Whoops, if you're going to have a decoration, then you have to specify the color inside the decoration. Okay, that looks good. I think this dentist size could be a bit smaller. And we could have a bit of a gap in between. Hmm. 10. Alright, that's cool. Okay, so now that we got this card made, obviously we don't want each card to say dentist, right? So now we can think about the variables between the cards, like what's going to change. So at the top, let's create this, right? So final. What are the two things that are going to change? The first thing is this icon. So let's call it just icon. And then the other thing is let's call it category name. So like dentist, surgeon, etc. So now we can create this constructor and say let's require both of these. So whatever this icon that we passed through, well, the icon, actually I'm going to specify this. I'm going to say icon image path just to make it more accurate. Okay, because this is the image path of the icon. So that's what I want there. And the category name there. Cool, so this is going to be all red because we actually need to specify each of these. So let's start with the category name. So this one I want dentist. The image path I want library icons tooth.png. And then with this category name, let's go surgeon. And then icon image path library / icons. Now what did we call this one? It's just called surgeon. And then lastly, this one is what should we call this? Medicine. What do you call a medicine person? Pharmacist? How do you spell pharmacist? Is that right? You get the idea though. So library icons, let's go medicine.png. Alright, let's see how this looks. No. Icon surgeon. Oh, we didn't put PNG. Yay. Okay, looking pretty good. Okay, and then finally we have this little doctor list. Okay, so we have this little row that says doctor list, and then we got a see all button, and we've got these kind of cards that we can create now. So I'm gonna put in another sized box, height of 25, and this doctor list. So first of all, I'm just gonna create a row, and this is the text widget that says doctor list, and then another text widget that says see all. There it is. Let's put this on either side. There we go. And let's wrap this in a padding symmetrically. 25. Cool. And we should make this one just a little bit more bold and this one a little bit more gray, just so that you know what's the important headings. So text style. First of all, I want to make this bold, and I think we can make it a bit bigger as well. So 20. Yep. And see all. So this one, what I'm gonna do is, we don't want bold. Size, I think we can just say 16. And then color, I want to make it gray, kind of gray it out a bit. Yeah, maybe a bit darker gray. Can't really see it. Well, actually, let's make it 600, but then make it bold. Or 500. Okay, I think that's good enough. Cool, and then we're almost there. So have another sized box just to space it out, and this is where the cards are going to be. So let's create one of these cards. So container, child. We're going to have a column, and so firstly we're going to have the picture of the doctor. Let's say rating out of 5, and doctor name, doctor title, I guess. Okay, so this is just the doctor profile picture. You got the bit of rating, the name of the doctor, and then the experience or your profession. Okay, so let's say now the picture of the doctor. So this is these guys, like doctor 1. So let's say image.asset library/images doctor 1, and this is probably going to be huge, so I'm just going to restrict the height a bit, and then rating out of 5. So with this one, I'm just going to put in a row and put an icon that's a star, and then next to this star let's put in a rating, say like 4.9. Okay, we'll see how this looks. Unable to load. Why not? Library images doctor1.png. That's interesting. So let's just check in our PubSpec YAML. Yep, I did do that. Sometimes we just need to reopen it. Whoops. Okay, so I just reopened it. I'm just gonna run this again. Hopefully that fixes this doctor issue, this image issue. But we can still continue creating this while that loads up. So text widget just for the doctor name, Dr. Arlene McCoy. And then the doctor title, let's go for, so this one's a therapist, 7 years of experience. Cool. So yeah, it looks like it did fix up the issue. And just so that we can see how this is grouped together, let's say the container has a deep purple color. Okay, so here it is. Now, because we didn't specify a specific width, it's just going to fill up the entire page, right? So how should we do this? Let's try to restrict this a bit. So I'm just going to put this in the center. Does that do anything? No. Okay, so at this point, let's just grab this column and create a new file in the utilities called doctor.card.dart. Doctor card. And so this, we are actually going to have an expanded container. So the reason why I use an expanded container here is because it's going to fill up the rest of the space, which is what I want. I don't want to make it red, but I do want to put in a list view here. And then now we can put in our doctor cards. Cool, and again, it's horizontal. It's a vertical scroll by default, so let's change this to horizontal. Okay, so there we go, and let's just put some padding. Oh, actually, we don't want to put a padding on the list view. I want to put a padding on the container. And just left. Okay, cool. So let's continue this on. So let's just start by curving these corners. Here. So we want to put a decoration. Cool, and then this container, so we have a padding. Cool, so we got some padding around. Now this image, yeah, let's see what happens if I get rid of this height. Alright, that's way too big. Let's make it 100. Cool, that's cool. And I want to wrap this image in a clip rect, and basically what this does is it easily clips the corners to be round like that. If you want to go like really high, you can just make it into a circle, which probably we should do for this. Okay, and then beneath this star probably should be a yellow. Right? Maybe a bit of a darker yellow. Okay. And let's put some sized boxes in here as well. And let's make the name bold. Text style. And the size just a tad bigger. Okay, cool. So the card is basically done. Now we want to create more cards for different doctors. So let's do the same thing as we did before, which is to think about the variables. So what's going to change between card to card? Well, first thing is the doctor image path, and then let's say the rating changes. So let's just say rating final string doctor name final string doctor, let's say doctor profession. And then let's create our constructors for this. And let's require each of these guys. So once we get the doctor image path, we can replace this without hard coding it. The rating, doctor name, and doctor profession. So let's just make everyone just 7 years of experience. Whoops. Okay, sick. Alright, now if we come back to the doctor card, we can now individually fill this out. So library / images, doctor 1. The rating, let's say 4.9. Doctor name, Dr. Ganesh Gupta. Doctor profession, let's say therapist. So if I save this, nothing should change. But now I can just create more of these. Doctor 2, 4.3, Dr. Mitch Kirker, and Dr. 3. Let's give him a 5.0. I need a name. Steve Jobs. You can be a surgeon. Okay, let's see how this looks. Cool, and then we have this situation going on. Okay, so I was going to add an image here for this little girl, right? Which we haven't filled out. But I'm going to spice it up a little bit more and actually use an animation. So I made a separate video for animation, so check that out if you need. But basically you can go to this Lottie Files website and pick an animation, which I just picked it just then. And we have a package here that we can use. So I'll show you how to do this. In our PubSpec YAML, in our dependencies, we can say Lottie. Current version as of today is 1.2.2. And then we can save this. And if you actually look at this package, it's really easy to use. We can say Lottie network and then just put the URL in. So where are we? This one here. This is where we were going to put in an animation, right? So let's get rid of this color and say Lottie dot network, and that's the URL. So this URL, you can copy this guy, and fingers crossed, hopefully this works. Yay, and there she is. So this is so cool. So I'm just going to leave it at that for this one. Obviously there's a few more things that you can do, like make these buttons clickable, get started and go to a new page. and also like these cards, you should be able to click on this and open up a new page to show the profile of this doctor, right? So a lot of things we can do here, but hopefully you got a good idea and the glimpse of how you make a UI like this using Flutter. And so let me know if you have any issues, and also if there's any other particular designs that you want me to clone or create, then let me know, and if I like it, I'll make a video on it as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Laters.